Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6 p.m. Eastern on September 23rd, 2013, and you are tuned in to FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Braden Robinson.
And I'm meteorologist Jonathan Bellis.
And right now, our weather is out of this world. What are we talking about, John?
Actually, well, we're talking about some weather back in 1989.
All right, cool stuff, cool stuff. Definitely 17 cities reported record lows on this date in 1989. A little bit of weather history starting off early for you.
Yeah, go back all the way to 1989 to Devil's Lake, North Dakota, and you would find a record low of 22 degrees.
Absolutely. The two-hour temperature difference of 30 degrees over 2 hours in some places. Snow and sleet out in. Can you pronounce that city for me
That's
again,
in
John?
Binghamton, New York.
Thank you.
And what changed that temperature? 65-mile-an-hour winds in some cities across the Mid-Atlantic.
Absolutely great wind gusts behind a cold front. And we're going to see that weather pattern over the next week. Not as extreme in our area, but a cold front is going to be coming down in a couple days, bringing us some cooler temperatures.
Yeah, finally just a spritz of fall here, bringing us down into the 60s.
Absolutely. It's going to be really nice outside, a lot more comfortable over what we've been seeing over the last couple days. We'll keep going with that local, give you a quick overview. We'll come back and we'll be on Mars. But right now, Jack, how's it looking out there?
I'm always excited to see you guys on Mars. Now let's take a look into our weather headlines. We should be having those showers stay in our area through midweek. They're going to linger around, ruin your day a little bit with that hair. Nice weekend ahead though for us because we do have a cold front pushing through, so we'll have some drier conditions in the region. In the tropics, hey, it's September, but nothing out there, remaining very quiet. National radar showing us a low pressure system circling around Kansas, Nebraska, heavier storms pushing through the Dakotas, and that's where we could see that cold front that's coming in through next week make its region. But in the Florida Panhandle and Peninsula, we have a lot of rain in that region. But we make our way to the Big Bend region, staying relatively dry. We had some early morning showers in the area, but staying relatively quiet, and I think we'll stay quiet for the rest of the night. So a nice night ahead for us here at the Big Bend. Temperatures all across the region: 86 in Tallahassee, 84 in Quincy, 82 in Bainbridge, and 82 degrees in St. Mark's. But let's toss it back to the desk as they take us around to Mars.
That is correct, Jack. We're going to go ahead and talk about Mars. Interesting story. NASA's Curiosity rover has yet to detect any methane in Mars's atmosphere. What does that mean, John?
That means that the temperatures throughout their year, which is a lot longer than ours, is a lot different.
Absolutely. Not really showing much sustainability for life, which is a step back of what we've been looking at maybe on Mars. But we'll talk about today's current conditions on Mars. Low temperature of negative 110 degrees Fahrenheit on Mars today.
And where they are in the solar system means that they're actually in the month of April equivalent here on Earth.
Absolutely. And today's high temperature, you thought maybe 110 is a little cold. Well, it got a little warmer out there. A high temperature of negative 2 degrees today.
Boy, that must feel like the Antarctic out there.
Absolutely. It must be very cold outside. Definitely looking at a lot of cool temperatures out there. But they're still looking for maybe some life, maybe some water on that planet. So definitely something that could be interesting for our future here on Earth.
I wonder if they get cold fronts on Mars.
I wonder. It'd be interesting. But we'll come back to Earth with a local looking at Shane. What's going on?
Hey, thanks, guys. Well, that was an out-of-this-world forecast. But back home on Earth, we saw a high of 86 degrees today and a low of 73. So we're a smidge below average with some pleasant temperatures heralding the arrival of fall. Right now, however, in the capital city, it is 86 degrees with a dew point of 71. So after all that moisture is pushed out, at least for the time being, it's been a little bit sticky out there today. So if you don't like the humidity, maybe best to limit your time outdoors. Our radar indicating not too much rainfall over the area. We had a considerable overcast sky this morning, but the clouds moved out with some bit of sunshine peeking in this afternoon. Now, taking a look at the Big Bend region specifically, see just a little bit of interference here on the map, not much to worry about, and we've seen overall dry conditions for today. Now, considering the current temperatures across the Big Bend region, it is 86 degrees again in the capital city, 85 in Apalachicola, 83 in Mariana. So we're averaging out in the mid to low 80s right now all across the region, but there are some heat indices to worry about. This is a measure of what it feels like outside. So when it's particularly hot out, it feels warmer than the actual temperature. The most significant one on our map right now is 94 in Apalachicola. So if you're down in the forest region, you may want to limit your time outside today. It could be a little bit too hot for some people to take. Now our radar for the greater southeast shows a great deal of moisture here in central South Florida, bringing a lot of rain to definitely Orlando and Naples and West Palm Beach. Just a lot of moisture in that area with the remnants of a tropical system moving out. Now, our futurecast will give us an idea of what's to come over the next several days. This dotted line here is an upper level trough that's basically holding this moisture in place in our area. We see our low pressure system move over from Texas, and again, this moisture just remains in our area. We'll see showers and thunderstorms, just a considerable amount of precipitation over the next several days. We see a light cold front come in about midweek, and at that point we will still be seeing the rainfall over the next several days. But we're going to just say it's not a good time to hang out outside. We'll see a low of 70 tonight, a high of 86 tomorrow, and a generally good week to come after the cold front pushes out of our area and the moisture decreases. But now it's time to send it over to Brooke for a look at the southeast.
Thanks, Shane. That was a great description of what's going to be happening. But for right now, we just have a lot of clouds just lingering. Most of our Florida area, it's 86 degrees here in Tallahassee. That clouds are trapping in those temperatures, keeping us still warm, even though we did get a little bit of cool down from that rain earlier. 75 degrees here in Orlando. Sunny Key West down south at 86 degrees. They have plenty of sunshine over there. We see some sunny areas up north as well. Dew points just showing you how uncomfortable it is outside. So the higher the number, the more ickier it is out there and more humid it is as well. So 71 is your current dew point here in Tallahassee. And if you combine the dew point with those temperatures, you get the heat index. 92 degrees is what it's actually feeling like outside. If you step outside of your car, you can see a lot of the moisture is up north, and these reds are just showing you how warm it is across of the Big Bend area. We see 89 degrees over in New Orleans. Atlanta sitting at 82 degrees. So you want those temperatures to drop down if you have any plans for this weekend. If you're going to Tomorrowland, you can see also a lot of rain and activity coming in from the Gulf, just hanging out over Orlando as well. At Tallahassee, we see some of that stuff clearing on out. We do see that sun made its way into our area today. We haven't seen the sun in quite some time. This weekend's been a lot of rain activity. We have a trough on over that's just going to lock in a lot of moisture for the next couple of days. So that stationary front's just giving in a lot of activity to central parts of Florida, giving some rain also to Jacksonville. They did see a nice weekend though. But if you're going out to the beach, we have 10 knots is what your winds are going to be at, with a light to moderate chop out there. So it is a hit or miss if you're going out to those waters. But again, we have the stationary front bringing in a lot of moisture to our area, a lot of rain for the next couple of days. So you don't want to take your umbrella out of your car. If you are going anywhere, you want to bring that umbrella as well. But we do see a lot more activity making its way on through. We have another trough coming into our area, and that's just going to bring in some more moisture and also get rid of some of that moisture as well. So for tonight, temperature is dropping down, 72 degrees here in Tallahassee, a little break from all that warm conditions outside. 68 over in Montgomery. We have a lot of cooler conditions around the Big Bend area. 78 degrees down in Miami. You guys are cooling down just a little bit, starting to feel a lot like fall. Tomorrow, though, we might just hit 90 degrees. 89 is what's expected. A lot of rain as well in the area. You can see a lot of those clouds just hanging out over South Florida and also in Central Florida and over in Georgia. Clouds just everywhere. We can't get enough of those clouds. Isn't that right, Jonathan and Braden?
Clouds all over the southeast, but it's time to get your pictures ready. Fall is on the way, and fall foliage has begun in the northern parts of the country.
Absolutely. We're definitely seeing some colors up in the northern parts of the country, up in the Green Mountains in Vermont, the White Mountains in New Hampshire, starting to see those oranges, those greens, those bright, beautiful colors that you see.
Nothing falling from those trees yet, but the colors are starting to change as the sunlight is lost up in those parts of the country.
Absolutely. Definitely a good time to take pictures. Just beautiful. Go sightseeing. Maybe go do some hiking if you're into that, especially if you're up there. If you're planning a vacation, going north, it's a good place to go right now.
And they actually had a little bit of snow in Yellowstone National Park this past week.
Absolutely. First snow of the season about 5 days ago out in Yellowstone, up in the mountains. About average for about that altitude. It's a pretty decent time to get the first snow.
Just a bit of that smell of fall to get your taste buds wet in time for Halloween coming on up.
Absolutely. Definitely seeing a lot of fall colors. Halloween's going to be a great time. However, Jack, I have a quick question for you. Do you think they're seeing those fall colors on Mars?
I don't really know what to say to that, Braden. So I'm just going to jump into the current conditions all across the region. 66 in Denver, 71 degrees up in Billings. You see the pocket of cool air sitting across the northwest, and we'll see those temperatures not as cold pushing through the Tallahassee region in the next week or so, but we're still relatively warm in the south and southeast. 85 in Dallas and 90 degrees in San Antonio. We make our way back to Tallahassee. We're sitting at 86 with 81 degrees out in Atlanta, so those warm conditions are still in the region. Current radar showing us that low pressure system sitting above Nebraska, you can see by the swirl, and storms draped along the cold front across North Dakota, South Dakota as well. And a bulk of the moisture is tropical disturbed weather making its way into the Florida Peninsula, so some rain concerns in central parts of Florida. Up in Maine, staying a little bit of wet, but most of the Northeast is staying relatively quiet. But if we make our way towards those Dakota storms, you can see some heavier storms lining North Dakota, South Dakota, with these yellows and oranges making their appearances onto Nebraska and also into South Dakota, so some heavier rains in that region. We head to the Gulf Coast, though. You can see some moisture making its way into New Orleans, but the big rainmaker is actually in Florida as we zoom in, have some storms pushing through Tampa or Orlando along the I-4 corridor, but make our way towards the Big Bend region and the Panhandle, staying relatively quiet for the next night or so. The reason why all those dry conditions behind us are very dry, but to our south we have some tropical moisture sitting above Florida. You can tell by the green sitting across Miami and into the Florida Peninsula. But what can we expect tonight? 45 degrees in Billings, cooling down up in the northwest as that cold front starts developing. That will be making its way into Tallahassee in the next week or so. Or 44 in Denver, 53 in Albuquerque. But as we go farther south, you see those low temperatures are pretty high. 65 in San Antonio, 67 degrees in Dallas, and 72 degrees for us in Tallahassee, with a warm low of 78 degrees in Miami. Tomorrow's forecast, though, warm conditions in Albuquerque, 79 degrees there, 80 degrees in Denver, 97 degrees in Phoenix. They're not really getting much of that fall temperature quite yet. 83 degrees in Memphis, 89 degrees in New Orleans, 89 in Tallahassee, and 89 degrees in Miami. So some warmer conditions for us, but we'll see some rain chances popping in the region in Miami and Tallahassee. But we're going to swing things over to Jason as he takes us around the Big Bend region.
Hey, thanks, Jack, very much. Appreciate it. And going into back around home, what we did see, we think about all that moisture did come out of our area. However, it's beginning to stick around in the next few days. It will be there. High did reach today around 86 degrees. Didn't see much of that sunshine until later parts of the afternoon. Finally broke a peak of it. But low did sit around 73 degrees. So a little hint of fall coming into the region. However, current conditions, though, looking mostly cloudy. This is the way it's going to be the next few days. We do have this moisture blob, really per se, around our region, just going to be sitting over there for the next day or two around the Tallahassee region. Especially the reason why is we do have all this moisture that is just to the south of us into the Gulf of Mexico, and it's getting picked up, and all that instability in the area is certainly helping produce a couple of our showers. Tallahassee, just to the east and west, did see a shower or two, especially to Mariana. Georgia maybe saw a shower at 6 o'clock p.m. However, though, going to early later parts tonight, not expecting those showers as the sun does go down and loses more of its energy. Current conditions, though, around the region, we did peak out right around 87 degrees just about 45 minutes ago in Tallahassee, now beginning to sit at 86 degrees, 86 in Quincy. So it did reach up into those mid-80s once again today, despite not seeing so much of that sunshine. Current heat index is a little down too. We didn't see as much of the sun today, of course, only 92-degree heat index. So still, regardless, feels very moist out and a little muggy for mostly around ourselves. Now, the water vapor is showing the reason why. We have this frontal boundary right between the dry air, where there's regions of orange and dark and light yellows are, where all the moisture is indicated by the greens, whites, and darker areas. So certainly we're in front of this area of concern where we have dry regions to the north and all our moisture to the south. So we're still kind of stuck around in this plunge of moisture. So next few days, the reason why getting a good chances of rain showers is because that moisture is still going to be lingering around there. We have this stationary front just beginning to drape its way slightly south going into Tuesday and Wednesday, but still stuck around the moisture, though, all throughout the southeast, really seeing it. And as this cold front begins to make its way later parts of the week, I'd say really Thursday and Friday is when we see that cold front begin to make its way through the region and cooling off into Saturday and Sunday is when we finally see those chances of rain begin to tamper out. So you got to bear with me in the next few days. We will be seeing these chances of rain in and out here. Like I said, tonight's forecast, 70 degrees, 40% chance of rain. Skies will remain cloudy, scattered showers. Really, the next few days pattern, it will be the same exact thing. Scattered showers, 50-40% chances of rain, 86 degrees. Maybe all even up to a quarter of an inch of rain tomorrow. We're certainly seeing some good chances of rain in the next few days, that's for sure. The clouds, of course, will be around the region. Heading to next few days especially, we see those chances of rain still persist into Thursday. Now that cold front, I'd say not moving until around Friday and Saturdays when we see those temperatures maybe tamper off for the lows into the evenings. However, though, we're going to go ahead and take it back to Raquel and Brooke now. We have a story about Super Typhoon Usagi. Tell me more, please.
Well, Super Typhoon Usagi happened this past weekend, actually, and impacting parts of China, like right next to Hong Kong, and it's severely affected their airport travels. Over 300 flights were canceled, and another 60 flights were delayed due to Tropical Storm Usagi.
And it left 21 people dead after the results of this storm.
Yes, it has been named the largest storm they have seen thus far this year. And again, have been 21 people confirmed dead due to the storm. It impacted them quite a lot, right, Brooke?
It did. For a storm Usagi named after the Japanese word for a rabbit. It's kind of ironic, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, having a nice rabbit. I wouldn't imagine like a storm to be named after a rabbit. But we're going to send it back to Braden to take us around Florida.
Thank you very much, ladies. It's looking pretty good. However, I'm going to take you around a quick tour of the Sunshine State. However, you might notice more rain than shine. We'll check out current temperatures right now. 73 in Orlando, 79 in Tampa. A little warmer up by us, 86 degrees in Tallahassee. However, it's because we have not been seeing as much rain as this giant area of moisture has been draped over Central Florida over the last few hours, keeping their temperatures cool. You can see by the icons, still seeing some more rain out there at this time. We'll go ahead and go into, there we go, your water vapor imagery, again showing all this moisture in the Gulf moving into Central Florida. North of us, extremely dry air moving in. However, we're still getting that tropical moisture, and we're going to continue to get that tropical moisture over the next couple days. All this moisture is going to move up into Tallahassee and just engulf Florida over the next couple days. Checking out your radar out in Jacksonville, I'm not showing much. As you get further south, you see all this moisture. We'll get down there in a second. Jacksonville right now, just seeing some light rain. Valdosta as well. We'll go down into Miami. And again, you're seeing all this moisture out in Miami, near Fort Myers and West Palm Beach. Just the inland areas getting drenched. Lake Okeechobee also getting a lot of rain. Maybe some flooding around that area. You're going to watch out for that. Up into Central Florida we go, and this is where all the heavy rain is out in Orlando, Brevard County, Orange County, Lake County. Looking at all this heavy rain, and they've just been getting hammered with it all day. It's been a crazy day out there for rain. Definitely a lot going on. We'll go ahead and bring it back home, and you see not much going on. We got a little bit of showers today. Definitely maybe about a quarter of an inch of rain, but right now it's definitely starting to come down. Couple showers frying up between Tallahassee and Monticello right now, and west of our viewing area. However, in our general area, we are looking pretty good at this time. Current winds, again, coming out of the south, bringing in all that tropical moisture, especially in Central Florida. About 5 to 10 miles an hour, so not too heavy. Your Futurecast radar, looking at not much going on, just moving up over the next 12 hours, that moisture continuing to build all over Florida, all over the Gulf of Mexico. A lot of moisture to deal with over the next couple days. Again, Wednesday into Thursday, still seeing that moisture Wednesday at 7 p.m. Your beach forecast, looking at east winds 10 knots, a light to moderate chop. UV index still a little high, so make sure you are still using that sunscreen, having hat and sunglasses on. Out on the water for your boating, forecast east winds at 10 knots, sunrise at 7:23 a.m. and sunset at 7:40 p.m. tonight. A nice night to be out on the water, except for a little bit of that light chop. Tonight's forecast 75 in Orlando, 77 in Tampa and Fort Myers as well. Up back at home, 72 in Tallahassee. And tomorrow, rain all over the state, upper 80s down by Key West and Miami, down south. Upper 80s up here as well in Tallahassee. Jacksonville, the cool spot at 84. We'll go ahead and send it off to John, who's going to give us a little bit of a travel forecast now.
Going around the nation, there's actually really two systems across the nation right now. The main one that we'll be looking at over the next couple of days is draped from the Dakotas down into Colorado. really not helping with the flood efforts there in Colorado and Kansas and Nebraska. Dropping a little bit of rain, as we mentioned at the desk a little while ago, just a little bit of snow with this system over the mountains of Montana and over into Wyoming. The second system is the one that's been pestering us here over the last couple of days. There's a low pressure center just south of Houston, and it's draping a front from south of New Orleans over towards the Big Bend area and bringing tons of rain into central and south Florida. And that's been continuing over the last 12 hours or so and will continue for the foreseeable future. No delays across central Florida right now or across the rest of the nation for the most part. Maybe a few delays as we head into the Midwest tomorrow as that cold front does move into that area. Around the nation, the main story is those temperature drops. This is the first real punch of fall for this year. 66 degrees in Denver. Temperatures have fallen quite a bit over the last day or so. 24-hour temperature drop in Denver at 11 degrees. Some spots in South Dakota and into Nebraska, 10 to 15 or even 20 degrees temperature difference below from what we were yesterday. Ahead of that front, we're looking at temperatures a few degrees warmer from New Orleans at 6 degrees, a little bit warmer, and 8 degrees in Memphis. Really not much difference here from yesterday because of all that rain kind of sticking around here across this area. Tropical update here across the Atlantic. Although it feels a little bit like October here, we're still in September across the Atlantic. Most systems that we see are coming out of the deep Caribbean and deep Atlantic and coming on towards the north. Really, that front that is pestering us across Florida is really keeping storm activity down across the entire Atlantic. The Gulf of Mexico is pretty clear except for that frontal boundary, and we're really not seeing much activity across the entire Atlantic right now. There's a couple of waves coming across the Atlantic. Here's 1, 2, and 3. No models really showing any sort of development across the Atlantic, and it's looking like we're going to be a couple of weeks until we see our next system. I want to talk a little bit about this since this is probably our best chance at anything tropically over the next week or so. A typical within the month of October, we see a lot of these fronts kind of die out before they push all the way through Florida to the Florida Straits, and they kind of spin up. There's plenty of warm water. Temperatures out in the Gulf are still 80 to 85 degrees, and that's plenty warm enough for systems to develop. I don't think this one will develop, but there are a couple of models that bring the system over towards the east and spin something out over the Atlantic over the next 10 days or so, because it's going to take a while to get this system out of the way. But really, nothing going on across the Atlantic or here at home other than just some rain. How's it looking for the rest of fall?
Well, staying relatively quiet, Jonathan, except for some parts of the northeast or the northeast part of the country. They have seen a little bit of rain there, especially the northwest, actually, around the Seattle area. But now we're going to focus on Nebraska, who has been receiving the floodwaters from Colorado.
Right, and we all remember the Colorado flooding where there was about 7,000 homes lost. A lot of people still reported missing, but they're still trying to find them. With all those clouds clearing up, the helicopters were able to find people out there and stuff. So
yes, now they're actually setting records. All that water that's draining out of the Colorado area is now heading towards the Palette River of
channel,
Nebraska.
right.
And they're setting records there. How high has the records been setting?
Extremely high over in the Nebraska area. They've been reported about 14 feet from Sunday to set an actual record over there. And that's really rare because they don't really see a lot of rain in those states, right?
Not too much, but now we're going to take it back to our local area and see how things are looking out there. So look at that high of 86, or at least according to our almanac, temperatures have raised up 1 degree higher. It's actually a high of 87 today, and that is about average for this time of year. So hey, at least we're seeing that fall-like temperatures that we're used to seeing for this time of year again. So low 73 degrees, current conditions right now, 84 degrees and partly cloudy. And that's going to continue to keep our temperatures on the rather warm side tonight. The humidity at 67%. That again, maybe not a nice hair day for us ladies, but it's making us quite warm for fall. 84 degrees is our current temperature in Tallahassee, 84 in Quincy, and 84 in St. Mark's. So again, we're just seeing 84 everywhere. Even in Valdosta, look at that, 84 degrees. And 81 in Perry, the game changer right there. Hey, he's 81, he's just trying to be rebellious against those temperatures. Current dew point right now, we're seeing 70s, and that's going to continue to stay pretty much at that same temperature. Well, maybe I'm wrong, it just actually changed right now.
So we're going to see the current dew point temperature just stay moderate at this time. As the temperatures start to drop down, humidity will start to rise up. Satellite radar, we do see all this moisture that we had earlier today, those pop-up showers just ruining your day. We're going to continue to see them throughout the evening. And just maybe want to carry an umbrella tonight. Water vapor. We do have this stationary front that's going to stay in place for the next couple of days. We're going to see that tropical moisture just heading up there, increasing our rain chances for Tuesday and Wednesday. And this dry air mass just waiting to push into our area and make our weekend a lot nicer. So hopefully we'll be able to see some sunshine by Thursday afternoon. Futurecast, that stationary front I mentioned earlier, is going to set in place for the next couple of days. This upper level trough has been preventing the high pressure system to push the stationary front away from us. And this low pressure system out there is going to ride out along the stationary front and move northeasterly. So again, we're going to just continue to see those showers and scattered thunderstorms. But this cold front is trying to make its way through. It's weak, but it's going to drop our temperatures a couple of degrees. So as it's making its way through, it's going to push all this moisture coming out from the Gulf and into the upper areas as Alabama and Georgia. So Alabama and Georgia, expect to see your umbrellas out. For tonight's forecast, 70 degrees, 40% chance of rain, mostly cloudy skies. So again, we're going to see warmer temperatures than this time of year. We're used to seeing like upper 60s, mid 60s. For tomorrow's forecast, 86 degrees, and we're going to see perhaps a quarter of an inch of rain tomorrow. And for your 7-day forecast, you're going to see temperatures slightly drop as we head into the weekend. And that is due to that cold front, that weak cold front that's going to bring us a little bit of rain, or it's going to clear up rather, for this weekend, making us have nicer weather. So Brooke, how about our weather patterns for this time of year? What are we actually used to seeing for fall?
For fall, we do see a dip in those temperatures. It feels really cooler. But here's a really cool fact about birds in fall. The Arctic tern travels 11,000 miles for its annual migration during the month of fall
Or
season,
October, right?
Yeah, the fall season. So that's about 3.5 times around the Earth.
I'm used to always putting on a jacket for October. It's always been cold at night, and it always warms up during the day. So I'm just shutting the coat on during the day, and I have to just bundle up at night. It makes Halloween very difficult to dress up for.
I agree. I wish we can just migrate down south to Miami.
How far south do they migrate to?
It's about pretty far south out there.
I'm guessing South America then. Well, hopefully we'll see like more birds heading our way. I mean, I saw Canadian geese the other day.
Did you really?
I did.
Where?
I saw them in Tallahassee across West Tennessee Street.
Really?
So we're going to get back to our 7-day forecast. Hopefully we're not going to be migrating ourselves anytime soon, because that weekend does look beautiful. Look at that, 87 all across the weekend. And if you want to learn more about it, just like us on our Facebook page and visit us on our Twitter.
Or you can always just hit us up over here. We have a nice little phone that works really well. You can give us a call sometime.
Maybe if you see some interesting weather, just maybe send us a picture, call us up, let us know what's going on.
All right, well, I hope you have a great Monday and enjoy the rest.